Our first line this morning is written by Swami Ananda entitled, Lift Your Heart in Strength Once More.
Good morning. Our readings are taken from Rays of the One Light, weekly commentaries on the Bible and the Bhagavad Gita by Swami Kriyananda. This is week 45. Faith is a call to prayer. Prayer is a call to faith. Truth is one and eternal. Realize oneness with it in your deathless self within. The following commentary is based on the teachings of Paramhansa Yogananda. In the Gospel of St. Matthew, chapters 7 and 21, we read, "Ask, and it shall be given you. Seek, and ye shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you. Verily I say unto you, if you have faith and doubt not, if ye shall say unto this mountain, Be thou removed, and be thou cast into the sea, it shall be done. And all things, whatsoever ye ask in prayer, believing, ye shall receive." Paramhansa Yogananda showed by his own example that prayer is a power, provided we believe deeply in that power. When our thoughts and feelings are strongly focused and then united in growing awareness to the divine presence within, they can bring even seemingly unrealistic wishes to fulfillment. When Paramhansa Yogananda was in charge of his school in Ranchi, India, he took the boys on occasional outings to the surrounding countryside. "There was a waterfall not far away," he told Swami Kriyananda, "where I took them sometimes. It was dangerous to cross there, but I would cry out to the boys, 'Do you believe in God?' 'Yes,' they would shout back enthusiastically, and so we always crossed in safety. Years later, after I had gone to America, one of the teachers tried to do the same thing, but he lacked spiritual power. One of the boys slipped on a rock and was drowned." Thus, the Master explained, belief alone is not enough. It must be united to one pointed awareness, which leads to self-realization. The Bhagavad Gita, in the 6th chapter, underscores the necessity for such one-pointed concentration. Whenever the mind, fickle and restless, wanders off from its concentration, let the meditating yogi withdraw it resolutely, spurning every distraction, no matter how alluring, and bring it back again and again under the control of the self. Thus, through Holy Scripture, God has spoken to mankind. Om, Om, Om.
As the youngest child of a Presbyterian pastor, I was well practiced in the art of waiting. Every Sunday morning, I would, after service, watch all my friends go back home, and I would be left alone in the back seat of our silver 1980 Chevy Malibu station wagon. And it was in the back seat of this car on one sunny Sunday afternoon that I had my first spiritual crisis. Did I believe in God? I didn't know. As a good boy, I was told that I was supposed to. And yet there was something within me that stopped me from introspecting and answering that question truly. Was it worrying about what people would think of me if I just said, hey, I believe in God? Was it some fear of persecution from a past life? Or was it just the unwillingness to take a look deep down in what I had experienced? And growing up in the church, I had some wonderful heart-opening experiences that pointed me in the right direction. The magic of Christmas Eve, for instance, told me that I was not alone. There was a spirit that is there in love just behind everything that we see. And in studying for today, I came across this amazing article that Yogananda wrote on faith. And he says, faith is the intuitive experience of all truth that resides within us. Isn't that an amazing way to think about that? Faith is the intuitive experience of all truth. And he says, this is where our hopes spring from. So all the hopes, all of our aspirations come from that intuitive knowing that we are one with truth, that we are true children of God. But he says it's hidden behind ignorance, and so many people are unwilling to take a look and do the work to find their way to that faith. And then he goes along and talks about blind faith and how blind faith doesn't work at all. If you just say, oh, yes, I just will believe this is going to happen, without that experience of something to base it upon. And so we are led to this single-pointed concentration. It's so interesting to see how Swami Kriyananda paired these two things, the Bhagavad Gita quote of the single-minded concentration, and then belief, and then faith. What do those two have in common? They have in common this. When you have that single-pointed concentration, it's not by effort. It's not by effort. It's by knowing. It's by opening through exactly what the affirmation was today, by opening to experience. And that, my friends, takes practice, it takes courage, and it takes faith. So often, as we start on the spiritual path, we are given these moments of grace. We're given these moments of like, wow, this is possible, in order to give us the courage, in order to give us the push that we need to start embarking on this journey. And what a journey it can be. So the first thing that I had to learn was that I didn't know what to ask for. As Swami writes in the first quote from the Bible, ask and ye shall be given. Well, as a child, I learned ask and it shall not be given. So every time I would ask for the new electronic video games that were coming out, now I'm talking Pong, I'm talking Breakout. I would sit for hours in the Sears station, the Sears store, just playing the display model and just wishing, oh, if only then I would be happy. Well, I didn't get to experience that. Now, don't get me wrong. I had everything that I needed. I had clothes on my back. I had a roof over my head. I had food in my stomach. But I didn't have joy. I didn't have happiness. And I didn't know how to ask for it. It wasn't until I was 14 that I found my joy at the Tanglewood Music Festival, underneath the stars. And I found that music could give me what I was looking for because it opened my heart in ways that I had not imagined possible. So I committed myself to a life of music, chasing after happiness one note after another. But music, I learned that I was not the type of musician that was in for music's sake. I wanted not art for art's sake, but music for joy's sake. So I wandered somewhat, not completely aimlessly. I knew what I was looking for, but I didn't know where to find it all throughout my 20s until I found Ananda. And there I found that music for joy's sake is possible. And so I began diving into the experience of Ananda music. I began to experience for myself what music can do to consciousness. And that one point of concentration was not an effort. When you feel joy, it's not an effort. When you're feeling that connection, that expansion, that presence, it's not like your mind wants to go and think about what you're having for lunch. It wants to remain in that bliss. Now, I did make a mistake at one point. I had blithely assumed, oh, I'll have this joy with me for the rest of my days, and this was in my early on. And then I took my laundry to the laundromat and promptly lost 3 individual socks of my favorite pairs, and I was in despair. And then the next day I realized, oh, well, that was a silly assumption. I'm going to have to do a little bit more work with this. So getting to that experience is our main job, because then once we get to that experience, concentration comes easily. Once we have that experience, we can build our faith upon that. Once we have that experience, we are invited and we follow more easily that path to that intuitive experience of all truth. Now, in Whispers from Eternity, Yogananda explains it brilliantly of how we can tap into this experience. He says, a word is like a dumb, drunken man who feels that liquor is in him, but who cannot express himself clearly about it. He may, with a cry or gesture, indicate the kind of wine he has imbibed. So are the words in these demands. They are drunk with God. Never, however, will they be able to express fully and explain with utter logical clarity the quality of wine of inspiration within them, so to speak, except with a little gestured or mumbled cry. He says the flame of inspiration is hidden behind the lines of each prayer and demand in this book. The inspiration behind these prayers and demands can be felt according to the depth of one's own intuition and feeling. So it's so interesting that Swami in the reading today talks about how if we take concentration and feeling, that is the key to praying with faith. Now, I'll have to be honest with you. I am a horrible prayer person. I heard my dad pray every night as we gathered for dinner. I heard him up in the pulpit giving thanks and giving prayers of concern. And I knew how to say words, but I didn't know how to pray. And it wasn't until I came to Ananda that I realized music is my way to pray. So faith is a call to prayer, but it doesn't have to be with just those words. Faith can be a call to dance. Faith can be a call to service. Faith can be a call to devotion. It is that single focused concentration that we bring in with feeling. Again, that feeling aspect is so key to developing that prayer, to being able to open our hearts to say, what do I really want? And yes, it's difficult when we are faced with our desires, or even the fear to face our desires. I learned as a kid that, okay, I wasn't allowed to have the video games that I wanted, therefore I wasn't worthy. Therefore, I wasn't deserving of that. And so I stopped looking at my desires. I stopped, and I just kind of stuffed them all in there. I said, well, I can't have it, so I must not be worth it, so that's painful, so I'm just going to stuff it away and ignore it. And we all know how that works out for us, don't we? It's very difficult to know what you want and how to ask for it. And of course, we are given this incredible aspiration of wanting to know only God. We're given these chants, I want only thee, Lord, thee, only thee. And we're given the opportunity to know, even though that might not be our sole desire, we can pray for that to be our sole desire. So opening to that experience and just offering all of our desires to be purified. That's some of the best work that we can do. And allowing ourselves to come face to face with what is it that we truly want. What is it that we truly pray for? For many years, I've had this wall between me and God in prayer. I would go to pray, and I would get through, saying the names of the masters, and then it would be like, okay, am I done? Can I be done? I want to meditate. There we go. Do I have to ask for anything? Because I don't know how to ask for what I don't really know how to, because it's difficult to open my heart and then to see what I really want. So I saw Asha after one oratorio performance down in Palo Alto. She walked right up to the picture of Jesus, and she was talking with him. And it wasn't like she was aware of other people. She was just talking with Christ, with Jesus, right there, and I was so envious. She was a Jew. How can she talk to Jesus? And here I'm a Presbyterian, and I don't have the courage to do that. So I know I still have a lot of work to do of opening my heart to that. Now, prayer and meditation go together. We're told that prayer is talking to God, is asking of God, and meditation is listening for his answer. So meditation gives us that practice of listening for the answer. And the hard work is the discipline of bringing your mind again and again back to center, back to the breath, back to the Kriya Yoga. And by the way, if you don't know about Kriya Yoga, it is one of the best techniques that you can have to tangibly experience God's presence. And people that practice Kriya Yoga have faith because they have experienced something. And if you are someone that hasn't practiced it in a while, I tell you, have faith that it will give you that experience, and you know that you do as well. To dive into that, to give it your all, to pour yourself single-pointedly with concentration and feeling. Ask what it does. So for me, I learned that music is my prayer, and I've learned that when I have faith in either singing or conducting or playing a piece of music by Swami Kriyananda, something is going to happen. I don't know what is going to happen inside, but something is going to happen within me. I'm going to feel some sort of awakening. And I gave a TED Talk about this because I believe that this goes well beyond music, and that wasn't an experience in itself, the preparation and the faith that I could walk out in front of cameras and deliver something that could resonate with people. And so the topic is resonance, because I believe that what we experience, what we feel, resonates out. And I felt that so strongly with Swami Kriyananda. When he was in residence at Crystal Hermitage, I would walk down the steps and I would step into this force field, this experience of something that I could not just imagine. I could feel with my hands this tingling as I was walking into this experience. So what I've experienced is that consciousness resonates. If we allow ourselves to open and to experience, and then to keep that going through our faith by taking whatever it is. For me, it's music. For you, it might be dance or art or writing or cooking or serving others. We all have this opportunity to feel life resonating inside of us. We all have this opportunity to feel that, again, that faith awakening, that intuitive experience of all of truth that gives rise, is that secret spring of all of our hopes and all of our aspirations. If we didn't have that faith within us, we wouldn't hope even for those desires that we think will give us fulfillment, if we didn't have that buried within our souls. But yet again, it takes that work to get to it. It takes that effort of sitting, of being in ourselves, of, again, bringing our mind back again to the breath and to that awakening experience of God. And so what I would like to do is give the rest of this talk through music. And I'll invite Pavani up to play tambura. And what I will share with you is a cello version of the Raga Omar Khayyam. And it is based on the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam and is a musical exploration through the themes that Swami wrote. And so what I'll ask you to do is, just as you listen, bring your awareness again back to what this music might bring to your own inner experience. And my job is to resonate as completely with you so that you might feel that resonance awaken something within you.
I would like to share this with from attunement. Because, again, attunement, that sense of attunement of what I was just doing with the tambura is so important. So this is number 60. I will broadcast my voice with the chorus of thy songs, with the soft finger touches of my soul intuition. I tuned the radio of my inner perception. At first, I caught only the sounds of nearby experience. Then came a symphony of inner harmony, followed by sweet strains from my heart's orchestra of finer feelings. And then came the swelling chorus of my age-long cravings for thee. All these I caught on the radio of my soul as I kept tuning my perception, waiting to catch the whispers of thy voice, O guardian angel of all souls. With infinite patience, I went on tuning my radio. At last, when I was almost prepared to give up further trying, thy song burst upon my heart. Oh, let me broadcast through my every word now the chorus of thy songs.
Good morning, all. I need to let you know what's happening this week. On Wednesday, we have our book study group that's meeting here, and that's open to everybody. They're going through Asha's book on Swami Kriyananda, the Light Bearer, and it's a lot of fun for those who like to join in. And we also have, right after service, Vajra will be taking pictures of some of you, if you would like. There's Vajra. We have a bulletin board out here. We're putting pictures up so that we all get to know each other and remember each other's names, and you can see who's who, but we don't know who you are unless your picture's up there on the board. So he'll be doing that in here in the temple. And also a little bit later this afternoon, Peter and Pooja are doing a mala making workshop at 2, right? O'clock here. And if you have any questions about that, ask Peter and Pooja. Also, the music, as we've already discussed this morning, is so beautiful. I want you guys to remember, put it sort of in your mind now. We have a wonderful Christmas concert with our choir coming up in December 14th. Right? And it's here in the sanctuary, and I just don't want you to miss it. It's going to be a beautiful evening, so be sure to block that out on your calendar. This week, on the 15th, this weekend, Living Wisdom School is having their big raffle, and I want you guys to know about this too. This paper, front, back page, these are all the prizes that you can get. When you buy a ticket, you can specify, you buy tickets, but then you can specify which item that you would like to take a chance on. And you don't have to be present to win. So just keep that in mind. There will be people selling the tickets out here after service, right before you go out the door, so you can get one right on your way out. You can also buy them online, I think, too, on the Living Wisdom School website. There are overnight getaways to Bend, to the expanding light. There's a whole lot of wonderful services like massage and things like that. There's lots of things for kids. There's Vedic readings. There's adventures to the aquarium. And really, it goes on and on. So please, and then every ticket you buy helps our school. If you have any questions about Ananda or anything, you can ask, and we'll answer. Thanks for coming.